Hi there, Chris from TotallyEV, and here I'm doing a dedicated audio review of the Porsche Macan Electric. If you want a detailed review of the vehicle itself, make sure you check it up on your pop banner or by following the links down in the description below. Now, as standard, the Macan Electric, the 4 and the 4S have got a 10-speaker 150 watt audio system. However, in the turbo and as an optional £917 in the other trims, you can go for the 14-speaker Bose configuration that outputs 710 watts. To be more specific over here, you have got 2 tweeters and a mid-range that's found within the dashboard. Within each of the front doors, you have got a woofer and a tweeter. Then within each of the rear doors, you've got a woofer and a tweeter. And within the rear parcel shelf, you've got a mid-range surround and also a subwoofer, therefore tallying up to 14. Now, as for the Burmester audio system, this will set you back a whopping £2,778 in the turbo trim and an incredible £3,695 in the other models. This will give you a 21-speaker configuration with a 2-way center system and a 400-watt subwoofer. Breaking it down here at the front, within the dashboard, you've got 3 tweeters and a mid-range. Within each of the front doors, you've got a woofer, a mid-range, and a full-range 3D speaker. Within each of the rear doors, you've got a woofer, mid-range, and tweeter. And then within the parcel shelf, you have got 2 mid-range and tweeters within each of the sides. And then finally, you have got a pretty humongous subwoofer that's found in the underfloor compartment. Now, for you to tinker around with the audio drivers, you want to navigate on the 10.9-inch infotainment system. And here you'll find the listening position and also a few of the preset modes. The one I would actually suggest is pure. However, the Auro 3D with the Auro 3D intensity set to level 2 is an alternative. Now, as for the sound tab, I would suggest disabling the sound enhancer. And as for the bass and treble, I have added 3 notches of treble and left bass untouched. As for the balance and fader, I left it in terms of its center position. Now, it is absolutely baffling to say the least that you have only got a bass and treble EQ. And yes, you have not got a multi-band EQ like you'd find on some rival alternatives. I'm not really sure why Burmester really insists on not providing you that equalizer profile and also that customization, because here, if you're really splashing out up to, let's say, £3,500, you will want to tinker around with the audio drivers to your own heart's content, rather than just having a simple bass and treble EQ. The defense to Burmester would probably be that a lot of consumers just don't want to be faffing around with that. Well, if that's the case, why not just have a basic EQ and then an advanced EQ profile? Nonetheless, over here, this is what you're left with, and that's something that you'll just have to come to accept. And it does indeed have its shortcomings, which I'll be touching upon further down in this video. Now, for you to connect up to the infotainment system, you have got Android Automotive OS, which is certainly very much appreciated. And here, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are both supported over a wired and wireless transmission. And this means that you can play higher quality music directly via your smartphone, or indeed using Android Automotive OS, you can utilize some of the apps such as YouTube Music to stream some of your favorite artists. Now, aside from that, you have also got Bluetooth, although here this is limited to the SBC and AAC codec. So here, in this respect, you'll certainly want to use it sparingly, and given the fact that you have got support for these third-party mobile operating systems, I don't see why you'd ever have to resort to using Bluetooth only. Now, with that out of the way, let's get on to cabin noise, and here the objective measurements will be on your screen. Now, what I'll say subjectively is that the vehicle does a decent job even with the optional wheels that have been fitted on this press vehicle, although I was actually expecting a little bit better. This is specifically given the fact that this one has got the acoustically treated windows and glass, and therefore means that it's going to be a little bit quieter than what you'd find as standard. Indeed, this is an optional extra, which will set you back an additional £788. And if you do add this in with the rear privacy glass, it will set you back a whopping £1,152. Truthfully, I do think this should come fitted as standard on all the Macan Electric models, given the overall price point that it comes in at. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's get on to an audio demo. I'll be placing the microphone and camera in 4 separate locations within the cabin and playing back Priya J's track, which is titled Like Me.
If you wanna be mine, don't waste time. Don't make like you ain't noticed me.
Now, I appreciate an audio demo over YouTube is not quite ideal, but I thought to provide it as it gives you a bit of a taster as to what to expect. Now, in terms of my own subjective opinion as someone who's reviewed over 700 audio-related devices, including over 130 different in-car audio systems, I'll say that the Burmester audio system is a notable upgrade over the stock system. However, the Bose one might actually offer the best sort of value for money and be the one that a lot of people might go for. Now, let me explain. First off, in terms of the overall sub-bass experience that you're getting with the Burmester system, well, it's certainly absolutely phenomenal. That subwoofer that's found within the boot, which delivers up to 400 watts of power on its own, does a tremendous job of giving you that low-end extension. You'll get a lot of rumble in terms of the bass tones, and therefore even bass heads out there won't be left disappointed in the slightest. I think it's absolutely fantastic what the manufacturer's been able to achieve. However, certain individuals might find that the subwoofer is a little bit overpowering, and in this respect it would have been nice to see a subwoofer EQ. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Because here, if you were to tinker around with the bass EQ, it will also affect the mid-bass frequency. Now here, the mid-bass frequency, in my opinion, listening to a lot of D&B, EDM, dance music and R&B, is perfect when set to the 0 preset. And yes, indeed, over here, both at the front and rear of the cabin, you've got excellent degree of control and precision, and also a good level of engagement without sounding over-bloated. In this respect, I do think the overall bass department of the Burmester is absolutely fantastic and will one-up the Bose and will absolutely trump the stock audio system. However, where it falls short, in my opinion, is the overall mid-range. Both male and female vocals in the Burmester audio system feel quite recessed. Now, the same could be said about the Bose audio system, but in that respect, you're not paying as much, or even if you're going for the turbo model, you're having that come included as standard. If, however, you're splashing upwards of £2,700 or even £3,600 on the Burmester audio system, you might come to expect phenomenal audio reproduction in the mid-range and the utmost audio fidelity. Well, alas, that's not the case. Other vehicles that I've reviewed, even the likes of, for example, the stock audio system that's found in the Tesla Model Y, completely trumps the Burmester audio system when it comes to the overall mid-range accuracy. Indeed, over here, it just feels a bit too recessed and pushed back, and therefore means that a lot of people will be left a little bit disappointed with what they would come to expect when splashing out a lot of money. Now, on the flip side, the highs do extend tremendously well. The top end doesn't feel rolled off in the slightest, both at the front and rear of the cabin, and that's due to the fact that you've got a multitude of tweeters. And here, it doesn't feel ear-fatiguing either, at least if you don't add more than 3 to 4 notches on terms of the treble EQ, because this does affect your overall mids and the highs. So yes, indeed, over here, it would have been great to see a dedicated mid and high range EQ via the infotainment system, because it meant that you could have potentially EQ'd the treble even further and got a little bit of extra zing and that toe tapping feeling at the top end, while also adjusting the mid range separately. But unfortunately, that's not the case.
Way back to falling from so high, falling from so high, so high. The thing is, my imagination is constantly racing 1,000 miles ahead. I'm living in my own mind, but it's floating, I'm always hoping. When I reach the brink, don't stop the thing.
Now, another thing that left me a little bit baffled is when it comes to the overall soundstage reproduction. See, here you've got 21 speakers, or at least 20 if you take away the subwoofer within the Burmester audio system. And that is quite a bit of an upgrade over the Bose audio system, let alone the 10-speaker configuration. With that said, here, the overall width and depth just feels a bit closed. Now, you might be quick to point out that is because you went on the pure profile, rather than going, for example, on the Auro 3D and adjusting the intensity. And yes, there was a reason behind this, because the Auro 3D gives you that fishbowl effect. If you add, let's say, level 5 or level 9 to it, you'll feel like you're sitting in a fishbowl, kind of like SpongeBob SquarePants or something like that. It just really sounds utterly silly. And here, the audio processing that's been done to give you a bit more extra dynamism within the cabin isn't well done at all. And therefore means that for you to get the utmost audio fidelity while also getting the good level of instrument separation, you will probably want to go for the pure EQ. Effectively, what I'm trying to say over here is that I was expecting a lot more from the Burmester audio system when it comes to the overall soundstage reproduction, because of the extra audio drivers that are found within the cabin in comparison to the Bose and also the stock configuration. Now ultimately what I'm trying to say over here is that the Burmester audio system does do a pretty decent job across the sound frequency range, but given the overall price tag that Porsche or Burmester is also asking for, you might have expected better. Now as a result, I'd suggest that if you're looking at the Macan Electric, go for the Bose audio system. It might not quite compete with the Burmester audio system in certain departments, but I think given the overall price tag that you're paying for it, you'll be left a lot more impressed. Of course, over here, I'd certainly suggest upgrading over the stock configuration because the 10-speaker 150-watt audio system will feel a little bit dull in comparison to what you could upgrade to, for example, to the Bose audio system, or let alone if you had the extra money for the Burmester audio system. Now, I'd be curious to know what you make of the audio system in the Macan Electric and how you feel it compares with some of its key competitors down in the description below, or actually the comment section below. Well, in the description below, you'll find some of the alternatives that I've reviewed and their audio systems. Now, if you've enjoyed this detailed independent review, definitely do consider dropping a like, subscribing and hitting that bell notification. All of which would be greatly appreciated. As such, I've been Chris from TotallyEV and I'll hopefully see you next one. Take care of yourselves and goodbye.